What up? What up? What up? This is Mike, the philosopher, along with Tamara. How are you?
I am good. How are you,
You
Mike?
look like you in rare form today.
I would blame a friend of mine who picked some highly charged conversations to have, but I have settled down and I'm going
All
to be on my
right.
best behavior.
All right. All right. I appreciate that. Well, this is the second and last reunion of RTL, Ready to Love. And it started out really charged up. Okay. So let's get to it. Let me hear your final assessment on the Laverne situation. Is he a liar or not?
I feel like I was right. Laverne was vindicated because who walked away looking shady were the women. It was not it was not Laverne. It was information that he was given and he used it to prepare himself to be voted off. Then be told he's not ready to love. Um, but nobody denied that there wasn't collusion going on to break up some couples.
You know, I looked at it and I initially thought that Laverne was lying. But when I looked at it again, it did look like he was sort of vindicated. But that is a mute point. And let me tell you why. It don't matter if you knew what was going on or not. You don't bring that up at the elimination. You don't use that inside information to try to make yourself look good. What he tried to do is sort of do a aha, I knew this was going to happen. Um and by even mentioning this whole story. And true enough, he might have been part of the group that was being targeted by Carmen. But first of all, he was already on Sabrina's uh, uh, low list. She wasn't messing with him anyway, so he wasn't even really a target to even stay. So, did that little rumor go around? Yes, but at the end of the day, you still shouldn't have brung it up at your elimination. And that's the part that's, even if we got to the bottom of it and you were telling the truth, so what? Take it like a man. Do what men do. Take it on the chin like they always do. Okay. And that's something that got lost in the sauce, so to speak, because Laverne still does not come out of this looking any better to me, because he shouldn't have even brought that up. He should have took it like a man and said, yeah, well, okay, I know that I may have had a target on me, but I don't blame nobody. I know how this works. I'm gonna take it on the chin like a man, and I'm gonna walk out with some dignity. But he didn't do that. He brung this out and he started barking at Sabrina like he was trying to prove a point. And oh, I know y'all was conspiring. Well, if you had some real connection, and Ace even said, this was just girl talk. This wasn't even really serious. That's why she felt comfortable enough to even bring it up to Laverne. So it because he wasn't really a threat. I mean, it's just that he didn't really have many connections. And if Ace knew this, Ace didn't even save you, bruh. Ace is the one who told you about the conspiracy, and she didn't even save you. So it's still a mute point at the end of the day.
So just like last week, when I tried to argue that he hadn't lied and the women were looking crazy like they were lying, which they were, you charged me with just because you like him, I'm gonna turn it right back around on you because the whole point of the conversation did Laverne lie? He didn't. That was the whole point of what you and I were talking about. He didn't lie. Yeah, Ace didn't take up for him. She was outvoted, but still, because she eliminated herself after he left, because that was her only connection. So, I don't understand why all of this still goes back on Laverne looked terrible when really Laverne did not lie. right? And
Because
on another season, he ain't the first guy that knows he finna be eliminated and just don't want to hear the person say, "I ain't ready to love." The guy who was with 2 seasons ago, the lady with the pretty curly hair that ended up with the young guy, I felt like she should have ended up with the other guy, but she tried to tell him you're not ready to love, and he wouldn't let her because he knew where she was going with the conversation. Like people just that's not what they want to hear. And so why is it so bad that he did that? And we're not talking about old girl that was like, am I getting voted off? And she cussed up and down the like, people don't take that rejection well. Why can't it just be that?
I get that people don't take rejection well,
Mm-hmm.
but it was just it's like I said, it's just a mute point though.
Okay.
Okay, he was telling, I want to say a half a truth
He did
because
not lie.
I still don't think it initially came from Precious, who was the person who was upset about the whole thing. Okay,
But it did
because
come from Precious because Precious
no,
told
it didn't come
Ace.
from
They
Precious.
confirmed
It
that.
didn't come from
They,
Precious. No,
they did confirm.
it actually
I know you're
came from
talking about the
Sabrina.
producer.
It went to
But
Sabrina, to Ace, and then to Laverne. Precious wasn't even really on it because when Carmen said, I talked to somebody, and Precious was like, it wasn't me, and she was like, well, I know,
Precious
but I talked
did
to a lot of
tell
people.
Ace. Watch it again. They confirmed the story. Precious told Ace. That's who told her.
It was Sabrina that told Ace, but what I'm saying, and that's why I said it was a half of a truth. He did get the information, and it seems like he was part of the so-called block because Carmen wanted to block people. I don't know how Carmen got so much power, and she's the new girl, okay, but she comes in saying we got to block people, and Sabrina like, well, he's not in my top 5 anyway, so. But at the end of the day, was there a conspiracy to block? Yes, it was. It was, I believe it was Cliff and Joy, and they said Ace and Laverne, which I find kind of ridiculous because they wasn't a hot couple really like that.
They weren't, but
Um,
they had a connection and they weren't checking for anybody else. And then that was the problem. That was what Carmen wanted to break up. Not that they weren't a good couple or she believed they was a couple. It was, well, if we part of the process, we should all keep dating and have our options. These people have honed in on a person already. So let's break that up, which is
yeah,
what Tommy was like. This is petty high school stuff. This is crazy. But
yeah,
the point is you find your person on this show, right? And if you found them on the first day versus the 10th day, why should somebody be and I think they were all voting for each other, right? And that was the other piece that they didn't like, is that those 4 people were voting for each other to stay on as couples.
yeah. The just my only thing is that he should he should have handled it better as a man. He was sort of, and this is just man code, so I don't even, if you don't understand, I get it, but this is just man code. He should have handled it better as a man. Okay, he shouldn't be a chatty patty talking about rumors about what happened with him. If he knew that, he should have just took it on the chin. Okay, they were conspiring against all solid couples, but you didn't see any other guy going up to any other women reacting the way that Laverne did. He was a one-off, and he didn't walk off the show with dignity like a Wiley or like some of the other guys who got let go.
Well, what about Paul, who actually didn't get voted off? He kind of lost his shit a little bit. So I
Yeah,
just feel like you
go
like to
ahead.
rag on Vern because you don't like him, but it's okay.
I don't dislike Vern. I just don't like the way that he moved, and he just seems he just seems kind of immature to me. He just don't seem like a manly man. He just seems like a little boy trying to find his way around. And you know, that's not to say that he's not a good guy. I think he's still a good guy, but I think he got some social issues he got to work out, and that's okay. We all need work in some areas. So it ain't no hate or nothing like that with Laverne. It's just that he don't move like a man, he move like a boy. You know, you go to an elimination, you act like that, and you all this chatty patty, and you know, you pissing everybody off that you come in contact with. You got to start looking in the mirror. I mean, it ain't got nothing to do with how I feel about it. I'm seeing what everybody else seeing, you know. So again, not that he's a bad guy, but you know, he just got some social work to do, and that's all. You know, that's just it. But I still didn't like the way he moved at his elimination. He could have moved with more dignity as a man. Even if I know that information as a man, I'm not gonna move like he did. I thought that was kind of, you know, juvenile, to be honest. You know, so that being said, tell me about Paul. What's up with Paul? How did he move?
Paul, to me, is the most socially awkward of all the guys.
Mm-hmm.
He asks really interesting questions. You remember he started off asking these really rude questions, and he put the women off. I still don't know how he lasted though, because to me he should have been eliminated really, really early,
Right.
because he wasn't connected to anybody. Now Tina was probably what's her name? Precious was his strongest connection in the beginning, but then even when she tried to give him feedback, he flipped out. You could tell she was like, "Oh, don't like you anymore. This isn't going to work." And then comes Tina. I just think that Paul kept figuring out who else to attach himself to that kept him on the show, which actually he wasted a slot, because if he was going to decide to choose himself, then he should have left earlier. Just my 2 cents on Paul.
You can say that
Even
about
though
a
I
lot of
like
people.
Paul, I think Paul is attractive. I like that he's tall, and I like that he's an engineer. But I feel like he wasted a slot on the show because he didn't make any real connections the entire show.
What I like, first of all, I don't know if you've seen any of his Instagram and, you know, his other social media thing. He communicates differently when he's on social media than he did on the show. It's almost like he was using a filter on the show, and that's why he was kind of choppy in his speech and everything like that. But when he's behind the camera and he's comfortable and he's on his social media, he talking this, that, and the third, and you know this, and I was down with this, and that. He talked very fluently and confidently.
Mhm.
I would say the real Paul is different than the guy you seen on the show. The guy on the show had a filter that he was using, and he knew the camera was on him, so that's why he was communicating in the way he do. One thing I do like about Paul is this dude is a master when it comes to reading the room. He is a master when it comes. That's how he lasted so long on the show, is because he read the room entirely. He's a good. He figures people out real good, and he knew what it took to stay on the show, and that was to make another connection, and that's what he did with the Kia. Even though they wasn't really rocking like that, he had to try to make a connection. Maybe some would say a fake connection, but it was a connection to try and stay on the show. But he just reads the room best. That's why he lasted so long. Um, the whole thing with him and Christina was interesting to me. She was calling him a liar, and Paul is a liar, and he just wanted to come out with a book and all this other stuff, and you need Viagra and all this other stuff. And I'm like, how do you know? How do you,
Well, you
how do
know
you know
what's
this
what,
guy
what
need
struck me
Viagra?
about that the Viagra thing is just her being petty, but I feel like, and because he's older, but I think what I took away was Carmen called him a liar too. So that when another person is calling him a liar, to some degree, now there's two people that are saying that you're lying. Is there something there? That's what struck me. Like, oh, he
Um,
been called a liar
what
again.
did Carmen call him a liar about?
Oh, because he the stuff he said about Dakia to her, and she's like, that's no, what you said was this. And of course, I don't like Carmen and I like Dakia, so I want to believe what he said. But when Tina called him a liar too, I was like, maybe he is a liar. Maybe that's why he stayed on the show and didn't make a connection. Maybe it was a strategy. It wasn't that he was really looking for love, and that's why he ain't find it, because that's not what he was looking for. So it called him into question to me, because not that just because two people call you a liar, you're a liar, but I think about the Whitney Houston, when people started to say she was on drugs, we all tried not to believe it, but she was, right? And so if more people experience you that way, there's some truth there. So that's what struck me. Not that I care for Tina, but that's what struck me. Like, this is the second time he getting caught in some lies.
Well, it's her, as far as I'm concerned, it's her responsibility to pull up the receipts. Where is the book? What is the book's name? If he's on the show strictly for a book, then what is it? And where is it? And why haven't I seen him try to promote it? Because right now you looking like the liar. So pull out the receipts, you know? So
I
so
feel
I
like
can't I can't I can't I can't really call him a liar based on what any one of them said, really. I've seen some interviews that Paul did outside of the show, and he seemed to be very transparent with everything. He says he's a music guy, he's a producer, and he's not a book author or anything. He's not trying to come out with a book. And as far as I'm concerned, it's up to her to pull up those receipts, because she just talking outside her neck, as far as I'm concerned, unless she can pull them up, and then we could reevaluate and say, yeah, Paul was lying. We could clearly say it now because he denounced it again. Like, I'm not coming out with a book. So now is a good time to get them if you got the receipts. Where are they? Or are you just
I don't know
talking
what
to
his
try
point
to?
was on the show. As I look back, I just think he wasted a spot. I
Well,
wish it never
here's the
spot.
thing with Paul. Paul was he would have walked off the show with Sabrina. That was his number one connection that he said day one, or the woman he was the most attracted to. Sabrina was his type. He made that very clear, really day one. Even though he met Dakia, he wanted Sabrina. Sabrina, kind of shut him down mid-season, and that kind of left him drifting for another connection. Um, you know, he kind of connected with Precious for a while, but he seen that she wasn't his type. Um, Again, I said this too. I didn't really appreciate how Paul treated Precious. I thought that if I was disappointed with Paul on anything, it was how he handled the Precious situation. He kind of treated her like she was less than him, and he did apologize for doing that on the show, and that's where he got my respect. And she said she's working on accepting that, and I get that. But that if there was any part I was disappointed with Paul, and that it would be that. But then Christina came on as I think she was like the last, you know, curveball. So he was kind of choppy and everything. He wanted Sabrina, she didn't want him. He was testing out Precious. He found out she wasn't his type of girl. Christina pops on. He gets a connection with her. I mean, even at the picnic or whatever they were at, or that when they played that game, she came behind him and was like, "This is my favorite guy," you know. So he was constantly building connections. I don't necessarily think he was a waste. He couldn't get things to stick, and he tried to with Christina. I think he would have walked off the show with Christina, but he seen how she was moving, and he was like, she ain't the one. So then he tried to go back to Dakia and try to reconnect with her, and she was acting flaky at the time. So it's like he had one rejection, one he dismissed, and then two flaky chicks at the end. His chick just wasn't there. But he is a master at reading the room, because he kind of seen a lot of things that was going on, and he it just is what it is. Everybody's not gonna make a connection there, but I can't say that he didn't try. I think he did try to put in the effort, even with Dakia. But she was so, Eric struck and she and Cliff struck that she didn't have no emotional room for Paul at that time. So, you know.
Okay.
So, what do you think about any change on the Eric situation as far as what you thought about him and Dakia?
No, I just think they'll never get together. They won't resolve it. I hate it because I liked Eric. I think it was a misunderstanding. I think as adults, they should have been able to talk through it. And maybe even if they talked through it and decided they weren't for each other, and he could have stayed on the show and maybe connected with somebody else. I would have rather seen him be in the final four than a Paul or Demetrius. I mean, I just feel like people went after the wrong things and didn't, and it, we do this, we're creatures of habit. You go after what you see, and then you find as you dig deeper, that's not what you need something else. But in this case, some people ran out of time. Like Demetrius didn't play the game. He was stuck on one connection. And even after hearing she kissed some other dude and did some other stuff, he still keeps saying her name. He should have made another choice. He should have decided, well, she must not be into me like I'm into her. Who else could I be into? I do know his next connection was Joy. I think Joy was every man's choice on the show, if I'm honest. He didn't have a shot with her either.
Who?
Because she was Demetrius. He said his second connection was Joy. His top two was Sabrina.
So was Donovan.
Donovan liked Joy too. So Joy, I think Joy was probably every man's top choice, just like I said. But I just think out of respect for Clifton and liking Clifton, they, got cold. They're not gonna push up. But if he wasn't there, they would have.
What do you think of the Dimitri and the Precious situation?
So I feel like Precious came with her guns blazing. She was planning on chewing Laverne out, chewing Demetrius out, and it backfired because she really looks like she's unhinged. And she loses credibility. It was funny to me though, because it was funny when she and Demetrius were going back and forth, that we've never seen anybody behave like that on Ready to Love. And she just showed her hood tendencies there. And when he was like, "Are you high?" She's like, "No, bitch." That was probably my favorite part because she said it with her chest. Wow. She meant that he had hurt her. And honestly, I'm probably one of the few people that felt like that's when I really stopped liking Demetrius. Was he quiet? He moved quietly. He not really showing a big personality on the show, and when he opened his mouth, it's to say something bad about Precious. And then I do feel like it caught fire.
Okay, now
just like Wiley said his age, when one person said his age, it caught fire. Everybody said it. I do think there is a groupthink mentality that can happen if you like, I don't really care that much about that person. Yeah, I'm gonna go with what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it is some labeling that's going on. Yeah. And I think that Dimitri and Precious were labeled by their respective groups. It's like Dimitri was labeled as some evil guy.
But he wasn't. Reason. Did you see the whole segment on him? They talked about how smooth he was and how his suits was nice and he was handsome.
That was in the beginning. But you had Christina talking about how he reminded her of her ex and he's the devil and stuff like that. This is in another interview. This is
okay.
But he was judged. I mean, they wasn't rocking with his swag, I guess you could say. I mean, they like the persona, but they don't like.
Just like you say, men are supposed to hunt. He wasn't hunting. Just like what did Sabrina say? This line that I liked. It was like,
I'm not gonna sweat you. I'm gonna let you.
I'm gonna let you. Yeah,
Yeah.
women don't respond well to men like that. That is not hot. Just so people know. I mean, if you think you too cool and you too sexy for your coat and your hat and your glasses, and you think all the women gonna come to you, it'll work for a while, and then they'll lose interest because there's got to be something there. You got to give something back. And Demetrius wasn't giving much back.
I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I think Dimitri was all in on Sabrina, and he went to this chick a number of times, and he even called her or talked to her after the show just to see, because he wanted some answers. I mean, it's not like he wasn't intentional with his number one pick. He let everybody know Sabrina was his number one pick, and you know, I don't see how he could be any more intentional. It was her that was curving him for whatever reason. I think I know the reason, but it was her who was doing that, So I can't really say that he was, trying to be too cool for school and all this other stuff. He moved with intentions.
I don't think he tries. I think that's his personality. He doesn't have a lot to offer, right? You gotta work to get to some people. You gotta work to get to know them, and in a process like this, that's not that conducive, right? If you're gonna be shy and quiet and reserved and cool, you're not gonna attract the bees to the honey.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think that Dimitri didn't lack intention, he just lacked personality. Okay. And the personality is the draw. That's what got all the women attracted to Cliff and Donovan. Is the personality, and he had all the intention. He just knew who he wanted. It was just only really Sabrina. But he didn't have the personality to pull it all together. And he wasn't going to sell himself short. And I don't blame him for, like he said, I'm not gonna sweat you. I'm gonna let you. If you feeling somebody else, do your thing. Both Sabrina and Christina said they think he's a cool guy. They like him. They not the man for him, but or for them, I should say. But they think he's a cool guy. And the thing is,
that's I've the pat on the head comment. You know that, right?
Yeah,
if I've thought he was all that great, she would have picked him. She didn't. She didn't want him.
Yeah, she didn't want him. I've determined that, and this Christina and Sabrina is the same woman, the exact same woman, and this is why I say this: Christina and Sabrina are both very attractive women with a high level of entitlement, and they want beta men. They want men to bow down to them. And Dimitri is not that guy. Now they respect the guy that he is, but he's not the guy that's going to bow down to me. That's what they both saying. So I need a guy who's going to bow down to me, and that's not him. He's a good guy, but he's not my simp. I need my simp. Okay. That's just they both, attractive level is probably equal with each other. Entitlement is equal with each other. The type of guy they're looking for is equal to they're the same woman. They're just in different skins.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I don't agree with you, but I'll say I think is fair, and this is where I put it off on the men.
They even responded to him the same.
You're blaming the women. I'm gonna blame the men and say, until you evolve and stop picking the cutest woman in the room hold on, not you. Until men evolve and stop picking let me finish. And stop picking the cutest woman in the room with zero personality. That's what you're gonna get, because neither one of them have good personalities to me. Neither one of them are fun. Neither one of them are flirty. Christina barely opens her mouth. She doesn't even seem like a nice person. But we gonna chase Christina because she's attractive. When we evolve beyond that, then we'll see, you know what, I don't have no time for the woman like that. I could tell, just like you just said, they feel like they entitled. Guess who helped them guess who gave them that crown? Men did.
You
So
do that.
until
You do
men
that.
stop
You do that with
operating,
Laverne. It's
hey,
all
I'm
about
not saying
attractiveness with
Laverne is not
him.
my top guy. Laverne is not my top guy. My top guy is Cliff,
No,
and then
but you
the
make
other
all
guy.
kind of excuses for him.
I didn't make excuses for him. I haven't heard you talk about
If
Laverne
you was
today.
there and you seen Laverne, you would be chasing him just as much as you
I
see
would have
them
chased
guys chasing
Laverne
the.
until I would have chased Laverne until I realized his personality had no room for me. I would have left Laverne alone. I'm joking, but I care about Laverne because he's from Gary. That's why I ride for Laverne. Laverne could have been anybody. But the point being is, I'm just saying, who gave those women that crown is men did, because there's no substance behind either one of them. They didn't show, to me, they didn't show a signal to not one man. The men followed them because they wanted to. I don't think they gave them anything. Somebody like Dakia
Men,
deserved better than and then
okay,
she deserved a man to chase her versus these two, because at least she
men
gave
like
something.
men like attractive women. They're gonna go and
But
chase
that's what I'm
attractive
saying. I said
women.
that as long as y'all
But
keep picking like that, you're gonna
no,
get
no,
that
no.
from the women.
That's just our thing.
Yeah,
Women,
and you're gonna keep
women
women
go
breaking your
after
heart.
certain men for their reasons, and men go after
That's
women for their reasons.
that's all I'm saying, is that is not a
It- it-
successful strategy in
can
all
we?
cases.
So can we both evolve as human beings? Can women get out of chasing men for money?
I don't. So I don't
Yeah,
really
but I'm talking about the majority.
they should. I think they are. That's why women are more independent these days than men are, because they make their own money. So I think women have
That doesn't mean
okay.
that don't mean they don't
Okay.
want a man with money still.
Keep saying
Trust.
it. But they should. They should want a man who
Yeah.
can match, who brings equal to the table as them. I agree with that. What's wrong with that?
Oh, so okay, but that's fine. But men can't chase what they like.
I'm not saying that women are chasing men. I'm saying women have evolved because they make their own money now. I'm just asking
They
men
make
to
their
evolve
own
just
money,
a
but
little
that
bit.
don't stop them from being hypergamous, is what I'm saying, Tamara.
They can still be. I feel like this. You bring a lot to the table, you should be able to require a lot from the table. If you ain't hardly bringing nothing, you need to be
If
requiring what you
men thought that way, there's a lot of men with women who don't make as much money as them.
I'm not saying
Okay,
that for
if
women
men
it's
thought
different.
that way, we would never get with a lot of women, I would say.
Men don't think that way. I'm telling you what I think. I'm not saying that what everybody else think. I'm saying what I think. I think I bring a lot to the table. And I'm not talking about money, understanding. I'm gonna support you. I'm smart. I bring a lot to the table. Why would I made that mistake the first marriage, picking somebody who didn't match me in capability. I can't build an empire with a person who's dragging me down. That's just not smart. So
Okay.
so that's where I stand on that. And I don't think Black women or women are wrong in seeing that and saying, I don't think that's a good winning solution for me. For me to pick somebody who's gonna sit on my couch all day. Like,
Women pick men for their reasons. Men pick women for
yeah.
their
And
reasons.
all
It
I'm
just
saying
is what
is,
it ain't got nothing to do
all
with
I said was
evolving or
y'all
anything like
should
that.
evolve because they chased those two women and netted zero. And the only reason they
Yeah,
chased them
because they did
because they
not
were
know the
attracted.
full nature of those women. So obviously they're going to still chase them until they find out what they
But they
are.
ain't about
And they
nothing. And if
found
Tina had
out.
showed up,
And
if
once
Tina,
Paul found out about Christina, he stopped chasing her. And Dimitri stopped chasing after her once they found out. Now he was still
I didn't,
interested in Sabrina, but he
yeah,
stopped chasing her too. I'm not gonna sweat you, I'm gonna let you.
I
That's
don't
just
think I
what it
don't think
is.
he ever chased her in the first place. But that's just me, and I think that's
Um
fundamentally how they didn't work
that's up for
out.
debate. That's up for
He
debate.
didn't. But see, this is the thing about people. This is why you date, right? You've already admitted you are a fan of Dimitri because you're a laid back guy. So a woman who needs a man to pursue her, she would not be interested in you because you are not a pursuer. You are a chill. I'm gonna give you a couple signals. Follow the signals, right? There's nothing wrong with that. All I'm saying is he kept pining for her. She kept telling him what she needed. He did not give it to her. He could not give it to her. She figured it out and was like, this man ain't for me because he can't give me what I need from him. That's
Exactly.
okay.
He's not the man for me because I need more of a simp, and he's not that guy.
A man that comes after a woman is not a simp. So
That's
I don't
not.
know
That's not. No,
what
no. He, like I said, it wasn't the fact that he didn't come after her. It was the fact that he didn't have the personality. That was the difference. He didn't have
okay, so who want to
he
be with
didn't have
somebody
the
that's gonna love you?
pandering. He didn't have the pandering personality that she was looking for. She couldn't find that guy on the show because all those guys had confidence. She's used to being sweated. Okay, she's used to being sweated because she's beautiful.
Yeah,
It happens to a lot of beautiful women. They're used
and
to being sweated and
that's
having men pander to them.
that's
Christina's
exactly
the
what I
same way.
said. That's exactly
Christina,
what I
but
said.
that's
I
what I'm
said
saying. Christina is the
reason she's
same
like
way.
that is you guys gave her that crown.
We didn't give her no
Sweat her.
crown, but she's
You
just
sweated her,
she
so
had.
she's
I
used to
told
that.
you episode 2, she had pretty privilege.
I know. I'm just saying, when I told you when I first started talking, you're not gonna like what I'm getting ready to say. I'm gonna put the responsibility on men. Because to me, Christina or Sabrina has zero personality. To me, they had zero depth. They didn't let nobody in. I don't know why anybody would chase either one of them for an extended period of time, other than they looks. And all I'm saying is, may want to change the strategy, because if you got a pretty girl that has nothing behind her eyes, not giving you
Well,
nothing,
if
leave them
men should
alone.
change their strategies of picking with looks, women should change their strategy with picking just for money. All right,
Women don't pick just
let's
for,
move
but
on.
that's okay.
Let's move
We keep
on.
saying it.
Okay, because yeah, if that's the case, we both can evolve. But let's move on. What do you think about well, let me say this before we move on. Um, I really think that Precious was uh very hurt by Dimitri. Okay, I feel like she was she watched the video of her talking about how fine this man was and suck him up and all this other stuff, and she she said it's the man of my dreams and stuff, and she seen that on the tape. And I was watching her when she was watching the tape, and she couldn't even look at the tape. Okay, she was so embarrassed. See, here's the thing, and I want men to understand this. Precious felt disrespected by all of the men. She felt hurt by all of the men because she really was looking for love. She had Paul, who dismissed her. She had Dimitri, who she really was attracted to, dismiss her, and she couldn't make no connection with Tori. So she was at a point where she was feeling very emotional because of of what the guys did, what they said, and how they treated her. Okay, so she was simmering by the time she got to the reunion because all of this stuff was playing in her mind. Now, she is super attracted to Dimitri, right? But to have him say that she wasn't for him actually hurt her. It was hurt and pain on Precious. That's why everybody don't understand where she was coming from. She felt mislabeled and not loved by the guys.
This is one
And
thing that we agree on. I felt the same way. I felt like Dimitri disrespected her. I felt like, that's like I said, that's when I stopped liking him, because I felt like, you've been quiet this whole time. You open your mouth and this is what you say.
what
I
here's the
think he
thing.
could have been I think he could have been more gentle. I think he could have been, and this is the thing that's hard for women, because Precious was somebody, I didn't think she was super attractive. Her wig was just bad. I think she was fine. But I would have liked to see her on the show longer, because she was trying to make deeper connections than most people were. And she was giving herself. She was opening herself up. She was being authentic, and she got slammed for it.
Yeah, she
She
was.
didn't show up with her representative. That was Precious was bringing herself.
Yeah, she was bringing her real self. Paul even gave her some accolades later in another interview and said, Precious just said, you know, Paul, I ended up kissing Tori. It wasn't a thing, but just so you know. And Precious was even one to try to save. She tried to save someone previously. I think it was Paul that
Yeah, she did try to save Paul, and
she
that's
was
when he went
champion
off.
for Paul. Yeah. So you know, Precious was a real one, and I seen the realness in her. This is why I felt like the guys didn't really treat her well. Okay. And by the time she got to the stage, she was simmering. So by the time she talked to Dimitri, she was set for boil because this was one guy she was really attracted to, and he said he wasn't interested in her, and he's like, what are you high, are you why, in other words, why are you so emotional? And she said, don't ever look down upon me. Okay. And that was an indication that it was more of, you don't value me, you look down on me like you're better than me or something like that, and I'm valuable, you know. And and that was where all of the emotion was coming from. She felt ultimate rejection, what I call ultimate rejection, not just by Dimitri. So she had to put it on somebody, and she put it on Dimitri for putting that label on her, because that even messed up some of her connections with some of the other guys. And she felt like, not only did you reject me ultimately, but you put the label on me as being a party girl, and that's what sent me home, you know. And so it was double. It was like it was a double whammy for her. So I think that's where the whole Precious and Dimitri thing was going. I think that's why she blew up, because she felt ultimate embarrassment too. I mean, she had to watch that tape about her, you know, finding him very attractive, and then, you know, him saying on national TV, you not my type, or this, that, and the third. So she was ultimately embarrassed, so she just left. So that's what I think about that whole Dimitri and Precious situation. It was a woman who was hurt, and that's why she stormed off.
I wish that she could have composed herself better to light him up some more, because I'm not a fan, and he is arrogant, and I think he's kind of
Let
arrogant.
me. Yeah,
I think he's selling himself because he got a lot of women that like him. I see his Instagram stuff, and he just take pictures in random suits, and but but all of that, and no love. And I
but I
think
but at the
but
same
I think
time,
there's something there for him to evaluate that says, okay, everybody sees me and wants me. Why don't they choose me? There's something to be said about that. Just like Laverne could use some help, he could too. He could too. And because they both got attractive packages in different circles.
yeah, okay,
Why didn't it work out for them? Because there's something off with their personalities that's not resonating the way they think it is.
yeah. And the thing is this: I don't necessarily think that Dimitri did anything wrong with Precious. I just think that she was already simmering. She was
You
already
mean
in her
Dimitri?
feelings. So
I
he
think,
didn't
yeah,
really say
Demetrius
anything.
was, but I think he did do something bad on the show. I didn't
Well,
like what he said
yeah,
on the show.
and I get that. I didn't see anything that he was trying to be malicious with. He just said she wasn't my type. But again, she was emotional about that. So she started to call him all kind of bitches and call all kind of names. So then he had to get out of his cool and was like, what are you? Are you hot? Because you're trying to show me up now. So I think it was a sort of a snowball effect. It was her getting to the stage simmering, and then him saying some things that were honest but at the same time hurtful to her. So then she got to a boiling point, and then he tried to defend himself, and then it just snowballed from there. So I don't really think he necessarily tried to be malicious with Precious. He just said, look, I just said you were not for me. That's all I said. He said, I don't have the power to send you home myself. You think I did make this decision by myself? I don't have that power.
He
So
did, but I do think he was the first person to throw out the party girl, and it caught fire with the other men. If he had
okay.
never said it, I don't believe it would have been said.
But guess what? Dimitri was labeled too. He was
But
labeled
he had
as
a positive label. That's why he was still there. I don't
no, he
know
didn't
why you
have no
keep.
positive label. He had
Did
the
you not
player,
see the
he had the
statement? He
player
did.
label.
The
Yes,
only person
everybody
that
thought
thought
he
he
was
was.
some kind of player. Joy
No, they
did,
didn't.
Christina
Watch it
did.
again. Christina's
No,
the only one that did.
no,
Everybody else
Joy did
liked him.
too. Joy thought he was there to start some stuff.
Well, that's two people. That's not all the other women liked
That's
him.
most
All the
of the
other.
women
I think you
that was
need to
there.
watch it again because I watched it today. That's not what it was.
Dimitri was labeled. He was
He
labeled.
was
There
not.
were
Okay.
three people that were labeled. Precious, Dimitri, and Wiley because he was too young. So they put
Dimitri
all
was
these
labeled,
people in
but they labeled
categories.
him. They labeled him attractive, smooth. He got
Player,
positive label. No, he didn't.
player.
Only person that thought that was Christina. Please watch it again because you probably watched it Friday. Watch it again. It wasn't a bad label. But
Yeah,
let's move. Let's move on to a
yeah,
different.
yeah. He was labeled player, but like I said, three people got labeled. Let me ask you this. Um, what did you think of the whole Joy thing? You know, when the camera showed, she started laughing, like, good edit. You know, when it came to Dakia, did you think that was a evil laugh, or you think that was a friendly laugh or a funny laugh? Like, what do you think?
So I'll be transparent. My best friend told me to watch that because she didn't like how Joy behaved.
Mm.
When I watched it, I felt like there was a lot said by Dakia about Clifton being open and not really choosing, specifically being clear on his choice with Joy. And I think Joy, during the whole show, Joy never said a word. I always noticed her being nice to Dakia, but Dakia would take a little jab, a little sting, a little something at their connection, at Joy and Clifton's connection. And so I think after Joy got to watch it all, she didn't like that because she picked Clifton day one. So for her to know that, yeah, there's a connection, and I know somebody else think that they got a connection with my man, but I already know there's nothing here for you, lady. But she never was mean. She never said anything. I think that age came out that way that day. So I didn't see it as a mean thing, but I did see it as, come on, y'all. Everybody know that she had no shot. Right, which might have come across a little on the arrogant side, but I think if I were Joy and I watched the whole season and heard Dakia talk about questioning the connection, I probably would have been a little salty too. It would have been hard for me not to be like, "Come on, girl." It was clear who was with who, and you just kept making this story in your head. Okay. I thought that was harsh. Okay, but I also feel like
it was true.
It was true.
Okay.
There was some truth.
I'm gonna have to roll with the Dakia side here. Okay, and here's why. I thought that was pretty much an evil laugh. And here's the thing: it's a process. Joy should know that this is a process. Okay, you don't just like. It's pretty apparent right now they're a couple, right? But back then, when they were in the show, so to speak, it's not that apparent. Cliff clearly said, I'm fair game. We all fair game. Okay. Mm-hmm. And when he said that to Dakia, one thing I noticed about Dakia is she believes everything Cliff say.
I know. And all I'm thinking is, do you not know when a man is telling you something just to keep you falling for them, but they are really not reciprocating it? When he said it, that's what I thought. Like, Cliff, you shouldn't have said that. It's easy to say, but you know you aren't feeling her like that.
Here's the thing. I just think that Joy was sort of out of line because, you know, everybody's there to date everybody. He wasn't your solid man back then. Y'all wasn't planning babies back then. Okay.
Mhm.
Y'all were on a so-called dating show. So all is fair. Okay. And I'm gonna say that I can understand why Dakia might think that it's still a possibility, especially when she believe everything this dude say. Once he said it should have been apparent, she didn't say another word when he was on the stage. You know, you could tell she takes his, like, she was arguing back and forth with Joy, but when he said that, she didn't say another word.
But her feelings was hurt then because she started crying, right? Like
Yeah.
he,
Once
I
he
this was
said
the
it,
first time I thought Clifton led her on. He gave her little breadcrumbs to
he
keep
did.
her around,
But here's the
even though
thing.
he knew that he was building, and they even talked about how much they talk on the phone
Right,
all
right.
the time, right? So he is
But they do
spending
that
a lot
now.
of equity in him and Joy. I thought they were talking about the show too. Like they've always just gotten along and spent a lot of time on the phone talking to each other. So I just think that, like most men, they're going to avoid the conflict. He did not want to hurt her feelings. And so he is going to say, because to me, the cop out, we're all fair game. That was the cop out. That wasn't, I'm fair game. We all fair game. You say that because we all in this process.
Now, the
That's
only thing
not
that
an
really
objective
makes
answer.
sense, only thing that really makes sense is that maybe Joy and Cliff got word that they were on the block, and they used other people as strategies to keep them on the show. Yeah, if Cliff used the Kia to get him where he is, I can totally understand it. That then I'll give him a pass. But if he did have a genuine connection with her, you know, then he was misleading her. But I'm more inclined to think that both Cliff and Joy was kind of using people to get to the end.
But Joy didn't have another
Creating
connection though, right?
well, she's Joy is not very good at faking anything. Like she's just not good at that. And I said this about Joy. I said if Joy have one flaw, is that when you are on her bad side, you know it.
How
Okay.
was that a flaw?
That's that because she's very polarizing. She's very hot and cold. That can come off as a little bit bipolarish. I'm not saying that she
It could be
is.
clear. It could be very clear to me. It could be
I'm not.
transparent. It's just
Yeah,
not.
but I mean, the way that she treated Dimitri and was like, "You playing game," and then she was kind of, she get kind of belligerent when she's not feeling you. Like she did that with Paul. She, like, even with Dakia, she can be nasty when you are on her bad side. And I think maybe that's why he gave her the key and not the ring. Okay, because he probably still wanted to see some test runs before he put a ring on it, so to speak. But you can look at it as pretty clear and direct, but you don't have to be so venomous when you're at odds with somebody. And she can come off venomous when she is on your bad side. So when you're on her good side, you get the joy, but when you're on her bad side, you get the hell.
I think that's a personality thing. If you have someone, and this is for anybody who is always happy, always nice, always amenable, there is a point, and they have a switch that they flip, and they have a dark side. And I feel like with Joy, that is it. I don't think you're wrong in that. And I also don't think that that's bad. I just think she's probably cool 95% of the time. But everybody has a point when they're not nice, they're not kind, they're hard to deal with, because we're all a whole person. So, and
Yeah,
Dakia,
I just question the conflict resolution. It's been all gravy because they've been on a mini honeymoon, so to speak, right now. But once Cliff get on her bad side, I don't, I'm just wondering how well she's going to deal with that. because
And I think she's gonna blow up, but because 95% of the time she's a joy, he is going to be okay.
that's what we
That's
see.
people.
That's what we see.
That's,
And they
but see,
haven't
that's
really been
people
to,
though.
but
You
what I'm
can't.
saying is they haven't been together 100% of the time. She's been in another country
And he
half
been
the
coming to
year.
see her every weekend, which
Yeah,
I
he
was
has.
very
And
thrilled to
and
hear.
yeah, and every weekend, and yeah, every weekend can be great for a
Why
while.
you gotta be so negative?
I'm
Be
not
positive.
being
They're the only
negative.
couple
I'm
that
not.
is believable on the whole show.
They're the closest to come to a proposal that we've seen.
Yeah, and then but you gotta find something. It's okay.
I'm not. All I'm saying is, I really, I've been praising Joy the whole season. Let's be clear, okay? Haven't I? Haven't I said that I couldn't find nothing wrong with this woman? I've
There's
said that.
always something
I've
wrong with
said
something.
that. I
Yeah.
know, but I'm finally seeing what it is, and it is her nasty side.
But you're like setting them to doom
I'm
because
not
of
setting them to doom. I'm just
okay.
simply saying I didn't see her flaw until now. And it's a legitimate flaw because it screams conflict resolution. How well is she at conflict resolution? Because a person who's bad at that is not really set for a long-term relationship. We got to think, like, there's a reason why Joy is single. Like, there's something wrong with everybody, right? Ain't nobody perfect. So that may be her issue, her conflict resolution, because she gets kind of disrespectful when she gets upset, or not even upset, just at odds with you. Like, she don't even need to dislike you. It's just like when she's opposing you, it's just venom. That's
I
all
know
I'm
somebody
saying.
like that. I know somebody just like
I
that.
do too. I ain't gonna say no
Uh-huh.
names though.
That's why as you talk, I'm like, that's a human being. She can't be perfect. Neither
Overall,
can I.
overall, with this season, like, where would you rank it? What do you think? Was it thumbs up, thumbs down? What do you think?
I was thinking when we first got together to talk about this episode, I thought this was my favorite episode.
Yeah, the
Because
season. Yeah.
one Precious called Demetria a bitch. I loved it. Two,
That
and I
should
agree
not
with
be
you.
your highlight.
It was. I'm sorry. I loved it because I know she was hurt and I could feel her on it. I wish she could have been a little bit more rational so she could have got him some more non-curse word zingers in there, but she couldn't hold it together. I would have liked to have slipped her some lines. So that was one. I knew Cliff was not proposing because I noticed the box was
You
not a
called
ring
that.
box.
I give it to you. You called that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I do like the key part because he went to visit and she coming off the road. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Gonna have a March
this is
baby.
what this takes to make love work when people have already got their lives going on. It takes these dramatic, significant changes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's really thrilling. That actually made me cry. I cried about
Yeah.
that.
I thought that was dope. And the March baby is just super dope. March babies are the best.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was a great season myself. It had everything. It had real people, it had fake people, it had mysterious people, it had, all kinds of people on the show. You had people getting cussed out. You had almost a proposal. It had the kitchen sink, really. It had everything but the kitchen sink in it. People making it to the end and still not making the connection, like Paul and Dakia, and it just had, I don't even know if you could fit anything else into this season. It pretty much had everything.
You know what? One thing that changed for me is I am actually rooting for Donovan and Carmen as much as
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
like either one of them. But I think they make sense to me. Like, sometimes you have couples that they're underdog couple and they got all these challenges and you just want them to win. But those don't make sense. There's some couples that make sense. The two of them together, to me, makes sense. Now, do I think they're going to get married? It'll be a while. I think they should. If I were them, I would take it slow and keep having fun with each other, enjoy each other. Don't rush it. Don't go give each other keys. I don't think they should go that far. I think they're not at that place yet. But I think you could just see their body language. It was real. The way
Yeah,
he had his arm around her and leaned into her all the time. And I think he's made a comment to Tommy and she was like, thanks, babe. And it was just really natural. It wasn't like, so it made me root for the two of them.
yeah, I think that they make a pretty good couple. I'm rooting for them too. I'm always rooting for all of the couples on these shows. I want them all to last, but obviously that don't always happen. As a matter of fact, it doesn't happen more than it does. But I'm always rooting for them, wish them the best, and yeah. So I just want to say one other thing. I was really, really disappointed with Christina, um, and how she moved and how she was even kind of disrespectful to Tommy. I mean, Tommy was like, this is your image out here. And, oh, you want me to apologize, Tommy? Is that what you want? Like, very condescending. And like, I did this for me and all this other stuff. And it just showed lack of character. I mean, a heavy lack of character. So I was very disappointed with Christina. I mean, it is what it is. Can't please everybody. She ain't got to please me, but she might want to work on the character just for herself because everybody out here watching, and you will be labeled just like Dimitri and Precious and Wiley was. You will start getting labeled, except yours will extend out into the real world. So, um, watch how you carry yourself. That's all I'm saying. And shout out to Wiley. I think both Tiffany and Keena, I think they just groupies, to be honest. Soon as they found out his father was a celebrity, they following him on Instagram and what Wiley doing, this, that, and the third. You wasn't even checking for that dude before you knew who his father was. Stop playing. Both of y'all groupies. I think Wally is smart enough to know that too. That's why he ain't really. I mean, he's trying to make it work with Tiffany, but I don't know. I think she's just a groupie, to be honest.
I'm gonna say this about Wiley. They show different snippets of him. He speaks like a young guy.
He does.
It's not just his age. He doesn't present himself as more mature than he is, and
I agree.
So maybe that's just something for the show to be cognizant of, because he didn't come across mature. He didn't come across immature or silly. It's just the way he talked, the way he carried himself. You weren't gonna win some 40-something-year-old woman with that.
Yeah, exactly. And I would agree with that. He was just, and I said in a previous recording, he was, gushing and blushing and stuff like that, like a kid did, and to the point where Sabrina said, "You remind me of a baby. You look like a baby," and he was, he started gushing in. So if even being his age, if he would have carried himself with more manly mannerisms, I think he would have still been able to pull one of the ladies. But his mannerisms, actually, he acts younger than his age, which is did not help his cause at all. So I'm not mad at the women for not really feeling him because they want a grown man, so to speak. So I actually think Wiley's perfect woman is probably 10 years younger than him. That's
Yeah,
the
because he
age
did
range
behave
he,
like he was in his 20s. I
yeah.
mean, he speak with confidence, articulate his words. I mean, those are just the things that I just picked up on. Like, yeah, he wouldn't resonate with me at all.
Yeah, and he shouldn't look at it like, they just labeled him because of his age, but his mannerisms didn't even match up to it. So he still got some work to do in that area. But like I said, his perfect woman probably 10 years younger than him. but he's a good guy though, and he deserves love just like the rest of them. So, and I think he'll make a young lady pretty happy one day. Any other words?
No, I was happy to hear that Dakia has a man, which is good. Because I feel like she went through a lot on the show. She gotta have some PTSD from the show. I've never seen anybody go through what happened to her.
Yeah, I seen pictures of her and her new man. They were out on a yacht and they were clubbing it up and they were having a good time. Some of the women think he looked better than all the men that were on the show. So so she's doing good. She's happy, and she'll be all right. She said she was frustrated. She had to go through all this to find him. He was already there, but the point is she got him. He probably wouldn't even known about her if he didn't see her on the show or something. Who knows? But, so everything happened for a reason, and that's just how it happened with her. So yeah, good season. One of the best, and want to thank you for helping me rank this and preview this season. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Even though you did it with high emotion.
Yeah, I don't think I'm cut out for this, Mike. I think you should go find you a new co-host, because I'm too passionate about what I believe. And
well, there are people who feel the same way as you, and you resonate with them. So, it's up to you. So
I'm a 1 or a 0. I'm on or I'm off. There is no, I don't have a middle ground. So when you said joy is polarizing, I feel that I am that way. But most of the time, I'm a 1. That means I'm in a good place. I'm nice. I'm kind. But if you start to trigger me, you're gonna get it, and I don't know how to stop it. So maybe that's what therapy's for. You work on that.
Yeah. Go see therapy for that.
That's what my coach said. You need to go to a therapist.
Yeah. So, but thanks for joining us. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. I said I was gonna cover Love Match Atlanta, and it's not turning out to be the type of show that I thought it was going to be. I thought they were going to focus more on the clients. They seem to be focusing more on the matchmakers themselves.
Did they have an episode already?
Yeah, they did have an episode. I may still talk about it. I don't know yet, but it didn't end up being the type of show I thought it was going to be. But we'll see. If somebody wants to cover it with me, you can email me, blackmanrankings@gmail.com. And
Mike should come with a warning label.
Or if you want to review Miami with me, blackmanrankings@gmail.com. And we can rank it together or talk about it. I only have a small warning on me. I mean, she tried to make it seem like it's hard to get along with polarizing guy. I'm not. I do have an opinion though, and I stand on it. And it might not match up with yours all the time. It just is what it is. Yours may not match up with me all the time. I just manage my emotions. That's all. But anyway, thanks for joining. Hit the like, share, and subscribe. Catch you in the next one. And don't forget to email me if you're interested in reviewing yourself. Peace.
That's pretty cool. Bye.